Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from.
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
The struggle, the ASIS strike.
You have done your work, you have put us to the wall. We are not your slaves.
I'm not a small boy. You should have given me the report. I have not seen the report. As I put our first discussion on the road, I'm joined by my first guest this morning, Chief Chibuna Obawike. He's a public affairs analyst, he's a politician as well as a chieftain of the ruling All Progressives Congress. It's always a delight to have you on the program.
Thank you.
Great. So now this conversation comes closer to home for you than several other issues of national interest. Right. So it's a domestic affair. Of course, politicians like yourself would say it's a family
affair.
Exactly.
If actually it came from the party.
Yes. So we understand all of what has been happening the whole time, but yesterday it came to a head with the announcement of the suspension of the national chairman of your party. Of course, we understand that seems to have been overtaken by events now because the state executive has lifted that suspension and called it an aberration of the process. In fact, it says those who announced the suspension in the first instance were nothing but imposters. So what has been your thoughts the whole time?
When I saw the news yesterday, I knew it cannot come from my party.
Okay.
Yeah, because the party has organs. The ward does not have the power to suspend the national chairman.
Because it's the national chairman?
There are hierarchy.
Okay.
For you to suspend or take a disciplinary action against a member of the party, if it is from, because we have our organs down to the polling unit level, if the ward will only preside over a complaint against a member, either elected or appointed, or another member, that arose from the polling unit. The polling unit will make complaint to the ward. The ward will set up a fact-finding committee. The fact-finding committee will not take action. All what they will do is to investigate the complaint against the member.
And report back.
And report to the local government, who will not take action.
It's interesting.
And as it is, when they report to the ward, after the fact-finding committee finishes their work and report, they will not set up a disciplinary committee. So it is a process that is, when the complaint is made, it's within 7 days. I don't know what I get me. So all what transpired yesterday, was, like you said, it was an aberration because the people, the dramatic...
I wasn't the one that said, it was the state executive of your party in Kano that said.
Well, like we said, it was an aberration. The dramatic personnel, we are not members of our party.
Did they stop being members of your party on account of this action, or they have never been?
Not, because the actual was executives now came out to refute the purported suspension of our national chairman.
So the legal advisor who led these announcements, himself supposedly lawyer, and now the gentleman, Mr. Haliru Gwazo, has he ever been a member of your party?
If he is actually the legal advisor, he should have known the procedure for disciplinary action against a party member.
So the problem is not that he's not a member of the party, but he got off on the wrong foot.
I don't think he's a member of my party. If he is, he should be abreast of the constitution of my party and know the disciplinary provisions as encapsulated and is enunciated in Article 21 of our Constitution 2022 as amended. He should be abreast of if he's a member of my party. He should have been abreast of the provisions of the Constitution in Article 21 of my party's Constitution.
This makes it very interesting. I'll tell you why. We had a similar case a few years ago, which also involved a one-time national chairman of your party, now a senator, Adason Shomele, representing Edo North Senatorial District. Yeah. He was suspended at ward level, even as a serving national chairman. Yes. So how do we just oppose that and find justice in the middle of it?
Like, we are a progressive party.
Oh, so that was an aberration then?
I am coming. After the incident of our former party national chairman, in 2022, the constitution of my party was amended and ratified at the National Convention.
Which was called by the former president.
Thank you. It was ratified at the National Convention. So such provision that to make somebody to wake up from the ward and then suspend somebody, it was amended. Such provisions are no longer in the constitution of my party 2022 as amended. I have the copy of the constitution here. In Article 21, that makes provision for disciplinary actions against members, the procedures and processes, and the offenses to be committed that will warrant a disciplinary provision. It does not confer on the ward level to discipline a national chairman of a party or a national executive member of the party. No.
Which means the suspension that led to, the action that led to the suspension of Oshomole was an eye-opener for the APC.
For everybody, if other parties will follow suit, when they go through the constitution of my party, they should, correct such anomalies. Because we discovered that somebody will just wake up we are in politics, influence somebody to take an action against a perceived enemy. So such things we are taking care of. The ward level no longer has such power to do such things.
In light of your amended constitution 2022.
Yes.
But in light of all of this, let's see how the Kano state politics plays a very important role in this narrative. Because this doesn't seem to just be an APC issue per se. It seems to be some peculiarity from Kano state as far as the politics of that state is concerned. So talk to us about that.
It's the opposition. We all know that the incumbent government of the state is doing everything possible to he's persecuting the national chairman. So they are doing everything possible to ensure they they nail him. And what is left for them, let us just use it, whosoever means to embarrass him, so that we will have a few. But they failed woefully. They failed. Kano plays a very important role in the politics and election. In the national election of Nigeria, because they have the highest number of registered voters. Northwest has 7 states. And if you come to Northwest, Kano has the highest number of registered voters. In Nigeria, Lagos has the highest number of registered voters, Lagos State. But in Northwest, has 7 states, has over 21 million registered voters. And Kano has, the highest number of registered voters in Northwest. It plays a very big role. And when you have, in national politics, you have Kano, you have Lagos, you have Rivers State, and maybe 1 or 2 other states. But you are making serious progress.
So, okay, some people are saying, because this conversation is a bit technical and hydra-headed as well. Some people are saying the APC itself, as a national party, as a party that's in power, also made a fundamental mistake by appointing Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje as the national chairman of of the party, because the allegation of bribery had already been leveled against him at that time. That's a party that is responsible would have asked him to go clear himself first, clear his name, before being considered for that sort of extremely sensitive position. Don't you think that should have been that should have been prioritized in the first place?
An allegation that has not been proved.
Even with the video?
Excuse me. An allegation, we know what AI does in these days. We know how people use artificial intelligence to manipulate things. I'm not saying he did or he did not do. But you cannot, because of an allegation that has not been proved beyond reasonable doubt, you inflict punishment on somebody. It is when the allegation is proved beyond reasonable doubt, then you can take action. I can allege something against you now and then. Somebody will punish you because, and later on if it is discovered that you are innocent. What happens? We see a lot of things in politics, a lot of mudslinging, a lot of throwing a brickbat, a lot of abuse, insults, slander in politics. Those are part of the things we see. And you know that the greatest weapon in politics is propaganda. Somebody can allege something against you and begin to propagate it. People take it hook, line, and sinker, and yes, they smear your name. By the end of the day, it will be discovered that you are innocent of this. You are accused or alleged to have committed or done. So you don't punish somebody based on allegation that has not been proven beyond reasonable doubt. It is not proper.
How about the argument that the APC has not recovered from the fact that it lost Kano State to the NNPP, a party that hitherto had not won any states in this country?
It is not true. Remember, in politics is dynamic. Someone in party A today might be in party B tomorrow.
Sure.
So never say never.
So the APC has recovered from that?
Nobody will say we have not recovered. No, we are still strong in party in Kano. And let's watch and see what happens in 2027. Between now and 2027, God spare our lives, we'll see what will happen.
People still, people in your party basically still want to blame opposition for all of these issues around your national chairman, Dr. Ganduje. And every time they talk about the opposition, it appears it can only point in one direction, which is the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. Why is that the case?
That's in Kano, is the NNPP.
Yes, in Kano. Yeah, why is that the case?
Because, you saw it was a vicious fight. It was a bitter fight. The election was bitterly fought. You saw what has happened. Even immediately the governor won the election, he began demolition of structures and business premises of the Kano State. The outgone government had a hand in allocating to people to build. And the people went to court and secured the judgment against 30 billion against the government to show how illegal the action was. So it has been the Kano politics. In this present dispensation between NNPP and RAP has been a bitter and vicious politics from the side of the NNPP. They are so vicious and bitter against Apata. I don't know why. And they are doing everything possible to embarrass our national chairman, to nail him or whatever. But they will not succeed.
It's interesting because, Engineer Rabiu Kwankwaso had been the governor of that state at a point, and your current national chairman of the APC was his deputy, and people say they were like brothers. So at what point did they, as we say in Pidgin Parlance, share Gary?
We do not know. I cannot tell you at the point they had disagreement at the quarter. They have been together. Our present national chairman was deputy to Kwankwaso, and they've been together. In his 2 terms as governor, he was his deputy. So at the point they had disagreement, I do not know, because I do not stay with them, and nobody can say for sure what brought the
point of departure.
Nobody can say for sure because you were not there. Anything you are saying is a hearsay or a conjecture. But what transpired between both, that they don't want to see eye to eye between them, they should tell us. That's what I would say.
Prior to the release of ministerial list by President Bola Tinubu last year, particularly between June and July, even up till early August, a lot of persons have said, look, we are beginning to see the presence, so much presence of Dr. Ganduje and Engineer Kwankwaso at the villa. So they thought it was a way of saying the president, Bola Tinubu, was going to intervene, wade into the matter, reconcile these 2 gentlemen. Was that actually the case at that time?
Well, what I would say is that in partisan politics, you make consultations, there is alignment and realignment of forces. Mr. President being the father of all, and the true Democrat would want to reach out to everybody. So reaching out to them, having meeting with His Excellency Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso and His Excellency Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, my national chairman, is nothing out of place. He's a father of all, he's the father of the nation, and a true Democrat, and want to see that everybody is carried along. There might not be the only politicians of note that he had discussions with.
But do you think those efforts failed? Because people who know the president enough say that he won't want to tolerate bad blood between these 2 gentlemen, that if anything, he would want to come in between, ensure that they got reconciled. You are an insider in the APC. You may not be maybe in the KG cabinet of the president, but do you think, is it your sense that there have been efforts by the president or by the presidency as an entity to reconcile both of them?
I should believe so. Mr. President want everybody, to be at peace with each other, irrespective of a political party leaning. He want everybody to be at peace with each other. So he's making, peace overtures, to bring, feuding parties together to reconcile them. That is a welcome development.
We understand that the national chairman of the party has a case in court to answer.
My name UBA.
As far as this case is concerned, these are very developments right now. But I'm just curious. At what point can we find resolution to all of these issues, whether politically or otherwise? Because if this fight continues, it's going to be more of a case of when 2 elephants fight.
I am not God. I am not in the heart of the people concerned, but I pray that there will be peace, and whosoever is taking this tension should mellow down, so that we don't overheat the polity. So I pray for peace. I want peace to reign everywhere in every state of the federation. I want my country, Nigeria, to be at peace, at all levels. So when it will happen, I do not know. I am not God.
There are people who have spoken to both in your party and in other parties. They say one way to resolve this is if President Bola Tinubu is able to persuade Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso to come to the APC. Do you see any possibility of that from where you stand right now?
Well, like I said in my comment shortly, in partisan politics, you never say never.
Right.
There is always room for alignment and realignment of forces. So there is always room for consultation. Someone in Party A today You might see him in Party B tomorrow, especially the partisan politics we play in Nigeria. So I believe whatever will bring about peace is a welcome development.
Yeah, obviously. But then let's look at the ongoing issue now. We understand the state's executive has said, look, you can't suspend this man because you have said, based on your 2022 amended constitution, I mean, there's no provision whatsoever that empowers the executive at the ward level to suspend a national chairman or even any member at that point. I mean, there's a protocol, there's a procedure. Yes, for that, all right? But where is this heading? Because most times we have seen this kind of back and forth. They say, well, it was the ward executive that suspended him, but now the state's executive has upturned it or has lifted the suspension. Does this actually mean there's a closure to this case right now?
In the first place, the people that claim to have suspended my national chairman acted, they are impostors. They are not members of our party to start with.
Okay.
Politicians
would always say that.
Number two, assuming they're not conceding that they are members of our party, they acted ultra vires. They don't have the power.
So you think this has been laid to rest?
It has been laid to rest because the constitution is the ground norm of the party. It is the obedience and observance of the provisions of the constitution is sync on to the progress and development of the party. So if you deviate from the provisions of the constitution, on what are you standing? You can't build something on nothing.
As it stands today, how would you, quite frankly, given all of the drama prior to the 2023 general election, particularly the governorship election, which of course also held in Kano State, and all of the developments we've seen afterwards, rate the strength of your party, whether in terms of political influence or numerical strength?
In Kano 2027, my party is going to win the Kano governorship. That one is
what's the basis for that? Is it optimism?
You watch and see what will happen. Like I told you, 2027 is politically it is close by, but as you are looking at it, it is still a bit far. I know what my party is doing in terms of mobilization. By 2027, you see my party will spring surprises.
People are now calling Kano State Kwankwaso's Kano for reasons best known to them. And you see all of them wearing the Kwankwasia insignia, which is basically the red cap to complement whatever white outfit they are wearing. Isn't that a way of saying Kano has now become, as political parties will say, an NNPP state?
It is not. There is one proverb or adage in Igbo language that says, the goat follows the person carrying the palm fronds. And when you carry palm frond in the villages, you see goats running after the person. So because NNPP is a government in power, you will see people want to align with them so as to get either patronage or something of that nature. Not that their heart is their bet, just to get something. But their heart might be in other place. But let them say, a semblance of I'm identifying with this party so that I will get patronage. We'll call them, like the former governor of Ekiti State will say, stomach infrastructure, followers of politicians. They are looking for their stomach infrastructure. So let's see what happens in 2027. Kano, I assure you, my party, the All Progressives Congress, is going to take over Kano State come 2027.
As it stands right now, of course, God will keep us alive to see what happens in 2027. Some people say we are having that conversation too early because the Northern Elders Forum now is now also saying that they are not impressed with the way President Tinubu is leading the country, and as such, come 2027, they are going to take a different turn altogether. But that's not the conversation. You and I are talking about the Ganduje factor now in terms of Kano politics. We're talking Kwankwaso on the one hand, we're talking Ganduje on the other hand. These are two very influential Nigerians, whether you like it or not. Is that not a problem for us as a country beyond the APC, that every time we talk about issues of national interest, issues that border on the interest of an entire state, a state as metropolitan, as big, as diverse as Kano, we're just talking about two human beings? Isn't that how much we have made fundamental errors in terms of how we have narratives, have conversations around issues of public interest?
In Africa, in partisan politics in Africa, you always have political leaders. And political leaders will always have their followers. You have leaders at the polling unit level. Let me use Nigeria as an instance. At the ward level, at the local government level, at the state level, at the senatorial zonal level, at the geopolitical zonal level, and then at the national level. We have leaders. And when you come to a state, take it or leave it, you must have, at times in some states, you have many political heavyweights in the state. And at times, You go to a state, you have about 2 major political heavyweights in a state. In Kano State, we have 2 major political heavyweights in the state. My national chairman, His Excellency Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, and His Excellency Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. So as they have the 2 political heavyweights in Kano State, they will always have their followers. And for the fact that both of them do not share the same political ideology, so there are bound to be, friction. So let us see what happens. It is not that we have reduced our political, development of politics to individuals. No, it is, what comes with partisan politics, especially in Africa. And we are seeing it play out in Nigeria. It is not out of place.
As it stands right now, we have seen the controversies that have trailed your party national chairman even while he was governor, and that has even become a bit more amplified now with the opposition winning the election, the gubernatorial election in Kano State just last year. And then, of course, the national chairman of your party is in court to come answer for these allegations, as we call them. Of course, you said they are allegations, they have not been proven, and until they are proven, no action should be taken, no conclusion should be reached. But again, I want to ask you, to what extent does this bother your party, especially at the leadership level? I mean, to what extent does it bother your party? Or to what extent is your party unperturbed altogether about these developments?
We are not bothered until the allegation is proved. We know that allegations are part and parcel of our political process. So until the allegation is proved, it doesn't bother us. Let them prove the allegation, and then the party will not know what to do. But the party always makes provision for exigencies. Should there be any need for a vacuum, we don't allow vacuum to be there. There is always the show must go on. Thank you very much for succession. But I've not seen it going that way. Let them prove their allegation. I see it, and most members of our party who are sincere see it as political persecution. Let us do this and get this man out of the way so that 2027 will be just a roller coaster for us. But it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be like that. Let us see what the courts will come up with if the matter actually goes on in court, and then we'll take it off from there.
This is very interesting. We understand that people will say, well, in an ideal climb, the national chairman of your party, whether the allegations are proven or otherwise, should have already done the honorable thing by stepping aside. Of course, Nigeria is not accustomed to that practice just yet. But in a system like ours, the governor is said to be the leader of the party at the state level. Of course, the president is the leader of the party at the national level. Yeah. So as it stands right now, President Bola Tinubu is the de facto leader of your party. It was the same thing when we had PDP in government at the federal level. So there's the expectation that President Bola Tinubu should be gentlemanly enough, for example, find the courage to say, yes, we're not saying you're guilty of these offenses. We're not concluding on you. We're not drawing conclusions. But you see, on the basis of morality, we would advise that you step aside. Do you see that happening, or do you think that should have happened in your conscience?
Like I told you, an allegation that you cannot punish me for something that someone alleged when it has not been proved beyond reasonable doubt.
Even on moral grounds.
What is the morality when you slander me?
When you ask someone to step aside, you're not asking them to go to jail.
No. You cannot. If you ask me to step aside, you are denying me my right, my privilege, right? Allow me to go through the process. If they prove me wrong, then you now mete out punishment. But you don't punish me for an offense that I did not commit. It has not been proven that I committed it. It will be inhuman.
I'm not going to ask us to go into all of the details, the legal aspects of this discussion, because that will be obviously sub judice, but it's an ongoing development. Kano State on the one hand, then Nigeria at the national level, with your national chairman being at the center of this whole drama, which is now unfolding in our very eyes. I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Chief Chibuna Ubabuike, APC chieftain and political analyst, for coming to help us find sense in these developments on the program this morning.
Thank you so much.
And we're taking a quick break, everyone. When we return, we're going to just further this discussion, but this time looking at the different subjects altogether. To stay with us.